On the day of the wedding, John Wilson's first love returned. She brought her family of 3 to our ceremony and revealed the secret I'd kept for her years ago during a quiet moment. She said she came to prevent regrets about her youth. It happened right before college entrance exams. She'd gone abroad for leg treatment and made me promise not to tell John to avoid distracting him. When John learned the truth, he accused me of deliberately keeping them apart. As we were about to enter the chapel, he grabbed my throat, snarling, "So you schemed all this for today? I'll never let you win." During our struggle, I fell down the stairs. Shattered glass pierced my carotid artery, and I bled to death. When I woke again, I'd returned to the day Emily Brown made me swear secrecy. Half asleep, I felt Emily shaking me. "Ivy. Mom got our tickets. We're leaving tomorrow for my treatment." I glanced at the wall clock, 1:30 a.m. My eyes dropped to the narrow folding bed I'd slept on since Emily moved in. Mom said I'd only need to endure it temporarily. But 2 years passed with me on this torture device. The phantom pain of glass slicing my neck made me gasp. Emily frowned at my delayed response, slapping my shoulder. "Ivy Smith. Are you listening?" I met her entitled gaze and slapped her face hard. The crack echoed through the quiet room. Tomorrow was SAT day. Yet she'd selfishly dumped her emotional baggage on me last life, ruining my first exam. She'd insisted I keep her departure secret, claiming John will find out eventually. We all thought the matter settled when she stayed abroad, marrying and having kids. John started pursuing me 3 years later. She even texted wedding congratulations. Yet here she stood at my ceremony, reminiscing about their youth with my almost husband, judging me for keeping her secret. Were planes grounded? Did all communication fail? Their failure to end up together became my fault? Did I force John to chase me? Cut their ties? Make Emily rebound into marriage? Emily recovered from the slap, shrieking, "What the hell is wrong with you?" I stood, delivering another stinging blow before she could react. "Since when do I need reasons to hit you?" Her injured leg hampered movement. Soon I had her pinned, fists flying. Years of suppressed rage erupted. Emily, my cousin, became my family's permanent poor orphan after her parents' divorce. For 4 elementary school years, I served as her scapegoat servant. Forgot homework? My fault for not reminding her. Fought classmates? My negligence. Stole money? My jealousy-driven accusation. The litany never ended. Everything seemed fine until elementary school ended and Emily's mom took her away. I thought the nightmare was over. But then she showed up again in high school, and the hellish cycle resumed. By then, Uncle had already passed away. So Mom became even more obsessed. She treated Emily like some precious heirloom, convinced the girl was this pitiful orphan needing salvation, her brother's last legacy. She even tried dumping that responsibility onto me. Suddenly, Emily's problems became mine again, as if I owed her more than her own legal guardians did. Like that time she insisted on becoming a biker chick despite being under 5'2". Of course, when she couldn't even touch the ground on that motorcycle, she wiped out and shattered her leg. The doctor said she might be permanently disabled. Guess who got blamed? Mom whipped me with 3 snapped hangers, screaming that I'd failed as a babysitter. My arm still aches when I lift it. Damn it. The more I thought about it, the angrier I got. I kept slapping her face until her cheeks swelled up. That's when my parents finally barged in. Emily's mom, too fancy for our shabby house, had been staying at a nearby hotel. But Emily herself apparently couldn't resist tormenting her 24/7 personal servant one last night. Mom yanked me up and shoved me hard. I stumbled, cracking my head against the dresser. Blood dripped down my temple. She froze at the sight, then snapped, "Ivy, what's wrong with you? It's the middle of the night." Same script, different lifetime. She'd never take my side. Not then, not now. All the rage from this life and the last boiled over. I smeared blood across my face, clawed at my hair, and screamed, "Yeah, I'm crazy. You made me this way. Did I ask to be born? I have college entrance exams tomorrow. But Princess Emily here needs to trauma dump her breakup at 2 a.m. Sorry if I'm not thrilled to be her slave. Maybe I'm the adopted one. Huh? That's why I'm second class? Mom clutched her precious niece, avoiding my glare. I didn't mean it like that. Emily's still recovering. Can't you be compassionate? Compassionate? Oh. Forgive me. Your Majesty. How dare this lowly peasant complain about serving the royal heir? Maybe you should have left me at the orphanage if I'm such a burden. Dad finally spoke up, dragging me to my feet. Ivy. Enough. It's late. I laughed bitterly. Wow. Dad. You do know how to talk. I almost thought you'd mastered invisibility in this family. He glanced at the clock, 2 a.m., and herded everyone out, muttering, "Get some sleep. You've got exams tomorrow." Sleep? Please. Even if I tried, there was no way I'd pass. I'd been out of high school for 7 years before getting dumped back into this nightmare. Why couldn't I have returned after finals? But fine. If I'm going down, they're coming with me. Last lifetime, they claimed I ruined their lives. This time, I'll do them the favor properly. As for whether John ever notices, well, that's fate's problem now. Honestly, my neck still hurts from last night. If I wasn't worried about drawing attention, I'd call him right now. Tell him to hurry up because his precious first love is about to leave the country. Or I'll turn into some sci-fi freak using physics-powered mind tricks to ruin their epic romance. But instead, I just posted some meaningless late-night Facebook update on my piece of crap phone, the same one Emily broke that Mom reluctantly handed down to me. I spent months saving lunch money to fix this relic. 3 a.m., woken by local lunatic to hear about her tragic love story. Claims she's fleeing the country tomorrow before planes get grounded. Guess we'll never see her soulmate again. Posting that felt better than anything in my past life. I slept like a baby and woke up refreshed. My phone exploded with 27 missed calls from John since last night. Perfect. Hope he's having an even worse day than me. The old Ivy died. The new improved Ivy Smith emerged. Watching him squirm gave me plus 100 happiness points, repeatedly. Ivy. Explain yourself. What happened to Emily? Where are your manners? That post could ruin her SAT chances. You're just jealous. Message after message made me nauseous. Since when did he forget how to read? Or am I just the glitch in their perfect love story? Am I your daddy? Obligated to answer every dumb question? His callback came instantly. Ivy. My name sounded like a curse between his teeth. What's up, kiddo? No one taught you calling 27 times at 3 a.m. is rude? Guess you need daddy's guidance. Ivy. I'm warning you, click. Since when did John think threatening me would work? Being near him feels like a criminal record. He redialed immediately. I answered for kicks. Ivy. Where's Emily? Since when am I your lost and found service? Why should I care? Please. This is important. Begging already? Try daddy first. Can't have you bothering me without proper respect. God. You're insane. Not willing? Guess your epic love dies here. Fake Romeo over here. Click. Morning arguments are the best caffeine. I grabbed breakfast money my parents left, shockingly. They felt guilty after Emily's meltdown, instead of my usual sad-boiled egg. Last life. They'd abandoned me to chauffeur her. The SATS language section went smoothly despite forgetting most high school material. Being native helps. I finished first. Sprinting out to where news crews swarm early exits. At the stairwell, I reopened my forehead cut. Blood dripped dramatically as I rushed to cameras clutching the injury. I feel hopeful. I beamed during interviews. College means freedom from being Emily's punching bag. The interview quickly went viral online. If I had simply played the victim, it might not have attracted as much attention. But I'd created this jarring contrast of hope, the daughter disturbed on the eve of her college entrance exams versus the mother who sacrificed her own child for someone else's. Go to college and you won't get beaten anymore. My mother became infamous overnight because of me. When we returned to our apartment complex, neighbors pointed and whispered. During lunch break, I walked straight into her fury. Ivy. What's the meaning of those things you told the reporters? Her palm itched to strike but hovered mid-air as my father intervened. She's taking her exams. Let it go. Oh. I laughed coldly. So my parents do remember I have exams? I thought Emily's study abroad preparations took precedence over everything. Tell me. Mother, does your love come with a loyalty card? Buy 10 neglects. Get 1 free beating? Ivy. The slap came then. But I ducked. Years of conditioned flinching had finally given way to defiance. Careful now. I taunted. Emily might think you're slacking on your surrogate parenting duties. Shouldn't you be in Europe changing her diapers instead of harassing your discarded daughter? My father slammed the table. Where's your decency? Decency? I spun toward the door. Why bother? Emily gets brand new parents with her mother's divorce settlement. I'm just the practice child you kept around. The shove came unexpectedly, not from my mother, but the migraine suddenly spiking behind my eyes. My knees buckled against the stairwell's concrete edge. Falling felt different this time. No wedding banquet champagne soaking through my dress. No shattering glass under my ribs. Just the sickening crunch of patella meeting granite step. Blood bloomed across my white jeans like peonies. Call an ambulance. My father's panic echoed through the stairwell as neighbors gathered. Someone snapped photos. My mother's shrill "This is private" competed with the metallic taste flooding my mouth. At the ER, the nurse's tweezers digging glass shards from my knee brought perverse clarity. No exams tomorrow. No need to explain failing scores. Best of all, according to the nurse's gossip, John had skipped his literature exam entirely. He bought a huge bouquet of sunflowers mixed with baby's breath to bid farewell to Emily. Then he pretentiously posted on social media, "You ask if it's worth it. But you've already become my entire world." The post featured photos of the flowers, Emily's back at the airport, and a screenshot of baby's breath's symbolic meaning, "Silent guardian's love." So touching it made me eat an extra chicken drumstick during lunch at the hospital. Honestly, I was just worried you two didn't love each other enough. Due to my injury-related hospitalization, I missed the remaining college entrance exams. The journalist who previously interviewed me learned about this and conducted a follow-up. Tearing up for the camera, I said, "I don't know how things turned out this way. I truly prepared for so long." The extended interview, combined with neighbors' testimonies, made my parents infamous throughout the city. My mother called in hysterics demanding, "What do you actually want?" She and my father were getting pointed stares everywhere. Even my usually meek father unexpectedly snapped at her. I chuckled. "Shouldn't I be asking what you want? Mom? Do you really need me dead?" Saying this, I involuntarily remembered scenes from my past life. She genuinely wanted me gone. Back then, worried Emily might lack funds abroad, they funneled most family resources to her. Yet our household appeared financially stable enough that I couldn't even qualify for grants. They paid my freshman tuition but forced me to work multiple jobs thereafter. My mother tearfully justified. "Ivy. Children from poor families mature early. This is our reality, you must understand." Throughout college, I never had a day off. Constantly shuttling between campus and part-time jobs. My high school jacket became college graduation attire until roommates donated their unwanted clothes. While peers enjoyed youthful radiance, I lived like a sewer rat, perpetually hiding my poverty. Meanwhile, what was Emily doing? At 19, she toured from New York to Philadelphia using my parents' money. When I saw her social media post, I confronted Mom. She shrieked incredulously. "Emily's legs are ruined. She cuts her arms at night needing ER visits. Must you compete? Is death so scary? I've wanted to die forever. If I tried, I wouldn't make shallow cuts that healed. You'd find my corpse weeks later. Ivy. I'm your mother. How dare you threaten me? What more do you want?" Her sobs engulfed me like quicksand, dragging us both into decay. Children naturally love parents. Back then, I kept succumbing to her abuse then bribery cycle. After that fight, she miraculously sent $20 with a voice memo. My knees ache, lungs feel wrong, too scared to see doctors. She weaponized lifelong manipulation tactics against me, reserving all kindness for her birth family. I refused the money. Throughout school, my scholarships and wages even subsidized them. When did I awaken? Emily became a bottomless pit, requiring others' sacrifices to feel valued, then normalized it. In America, she took up weed and alcoholism. The year I graduated, she developed kidney failure needing transplant. Mom casually demanded, Ivy. People live with one kidney. Your blood, I'm begging. That instant, clarity struck. She loved neither herself nor me. I refused to be her spare parts. My first rejection unleashed her venom. Why couldn't it be you? Through repeated attacks, I finally saw truth. I didn't ask her to give birth to me. She owes me no debt of gratitude. I don't owe anyone a damn thing. If no one treats me right, I'll treat myself right. I'll live for myself. I swear I'll live for myself. Maybe because of this second chance at life, my dad started acting different compared to before. But I don't care. He dragged my mom to the hospital a few times, but I chased them off every time. The moment he showed up, I'd scream like a madwoman. Haven't you ruined enough for me? You wrecked my college entrance exams. Are you happy now? They hated when I brought it up, so I made sure to rub it in. Ivy, I'm your mother. How dare you blame me? Same line. Always the same damn line. In my past life, when I refused to donate a kidney, they sold our house to fund Emily's cushy lifestyle. Then they showed up broke on my doorstep, whining. Ivy, it's fine. Live your privileged life. We'll just suffer like the nobodies we are. I finally snapped, laughing through my rage. Oh, I'd never blame you. Mom, you're the world's greatest mother, giving me the honor of being Emily's lifelong servant. Why stop at one slave? You should pop out a few more kids while you're still fertile. Poor little Emily might run out of maids otherwise. Ivy. She raised her hand to slap me. I smirked behind my palm. What's wrong? Mom? Hit a nerve? Oh wait, you sabotaged my exams to keep me poor and controllable. Didn't you? Such devotion. I'm moved by how much you cherish Emily. God. Open your eyes. Why couldn't you make them real mother and daughter? The slap never landed. My dad actually grabbed her wrist. Shocking. The world really had changed. I doubled over laughing until my sides hurt. Catching my breath, I taunted. Go ahead. Hit me. I mentioned precious Emily again. Didn't I? Ivy. What did I ever do to deserve this? Giving you life wasn't enough? You've done plenty. My mistake was not strangling myself in your womb. How dare I exist while Emily suffers? But hey, I sacrificed my future for her. Played servant for years. Isn't that enough? Here's a tip, treat kids like cash cows. Breed a whole army of slaves. Emily deserves infinite piggy banks. Ivy. That's enough. My dad finally spoke. We never wanted this outcome. What do you gain by attacking your mother? Too late for lectures. Dad. Should have scolded me sooner when you became the Browns' trophy husband. Your money, your life, all belongs to the Browns now. Better start pumping out more servants. Stick to daughters though the boys are harder to control. Wouldn't want them kicking you to the curb. We're leaving. You're beyond reason. They stormed out. Pathetic. If they were this weak, why had I been so terrified before? After a week in the hospital, I limped out on crutches. I returned to our rural hometown and pried loose a brick under Grandma's old bed, $12,000 wrapped in handkerchiefs. She'd hidden it for me, knowing I'd need it. God. I missed her. That fierce old lady would ride buses for hours to check on me, even bribing Emily with pocket money to keep her from bullying me. Tears blurred my vision. Why couldn't I have reborn earlier? She never got to see me thrive. Last life. This money barely kept me afloat through college flea markets. This time, I opened a bank account. bought a refurbished phone, and turned $12,000 into $270,000 through stocks I remembered skyrocketing. Money changes everything. Meanwhile, Mom's been cutting me off for 2 months to force obedience. Joke's on her, I've been living fine in Grandma's cottage. When Dad returned from his business trip, he asked how I survived. Disappointed I'm not dead. Daddy? Ivy. Must you always? Always what? If I'd starved, you'd probably weep at the wrong grave. I slammed the door. The wind carried my laughter. This time, I'd chosen freedom. All right. I don't want to argue about this. What's your plan now? Retaking the exam costs money too. Stop fighting with your mother. He reached for his wallet, but I jumped back like scalded. Whoa. Don't even think about it. I'm not touching that. You people are worse than loan sharks. Next thing I know you'll demand my soul as collateral. Besides, that's Emily's money. I wouldn't dare even look at it. Ivy. How long are you going to keep this up? How have you been surviving without money? You're only now asking? Doesn't the whole city know I'm worse off than an orphan? At least orphans get $1.200 in government aid. People take pity on me, I just carry a bowl around and kind souls throw me scraps. His face darkened as I spoke, a flicker of guilt appearing in his eyes. Not that I cared. Changing tack, I continued sarcastically. But hey Dad. Silver lining. You should have more kids with Mom for the Brown family. The whole world knows you're breeding indentured servants now. Once these kids start guilt-tripping people for sympathy, you won't even need to feed them leftovers. Such a profitable scheme. Emily must be over the moon. My father fled after slamming $2,000 on the table. Like I wanted his blood money. Next day I mailed it to his office with a sticky note, to world's best dad, so worried about you. Since when did you develop paternal instincts? Remember your place is the Brown family's live-in son-in-law. These funds belong to your masters. Daring to show concern for your slave child? Next you'll forget to worship the Browns. Wouldn't want precious Emily resenting you. Now would we? The village kindness was real. After returning, neighbors kept inviting me for meals. It felt like sunshine on rotting flesh, warm. Almost reviving. Not that I needed charity. Grandma had stockpiled 3,000 pounds of rice before dying. Gripping Dad's hand until he promised not to sell it. They still sold half later. Stopping only after Grandma haunted Dad's dreams. 3 years later, I carried a basket to the mill. Fried leek omelette with eggs from Mrs. Lee next door. Set a plate before Grandma's portrait like old times. Why couldn't I come back sooner? The 7 peach trees she planted bore miraculously this year, 200 pounds each. Mornings selling peaches at market. Afternoons reading in our old house. Evenings tracking stocks. When Dad came sniffing around the peach profits, I smiled sweetly. Grandma said you've been so good to me. The trees blessed us. His face paled as twilight shadows danced across the yard. He fled muttering about meetings. Coward. School started with special arrangements, tuition waived. Living stipend offered. I declined. Claiming lottery winnings. The scholarship went to Lily instead. First day in class. John marched over. We need to talk. Why should I? My eye roll could power turbines. Lily piped up. Face flushed but voice steady. Why should she feel guilty? For telling truth? The real thief of nests shows no shame. Disturbing students before exams shows no shame. Freeloaders show no shame. Why should decent people feel bad? Sharing air with you. The classroom buzzed. Golden boy John. Previously untouchable. Now facing public scorn. I almost pitied him almost. He was momentarily speechless from the retort. Kicking over the nearby desk before storming out. As he reached the door, the desk's owner returning from the bathroom yelled, Damn. Who's the jerk that knocked over my desk without fixing it? John paused awkwardly, torn between rectifying the mess or escaping, ultimately choosing the latter. Lily and I went to help gather the scattered books. Lily couldn't resist quipping. Whoever ran fastest must have done it. During my gap year retaking classes, I maintained a low profile. Cautious by nature, I avoided flaunting wealth that might attract unwanted attention. My classmates even speculated I was impoverished, often sharing snacks with me during breaks. Most retaking students came from modest backgrounds, viewing college entrance exams as their primary path upward. By semester's end, my stock investments had quietly grown to over $1 million. Then came the pivotal World Cup. Memories from my past life resurfaced, classmates hushed betting discussions. My father's occasional sports bets. Though only recalling a few specific scores, the tournament outcomes stayed clear: Germany versus Argentina finals, Netherlands and Brazil taking third and fourth. I wagered heavily on these certainties. My millions soon multiplied tenfold. Paranoid about scrutiny, I sometimes took taxis to neighboring districts to place bets. The first time 7 figures hit my bank account, my hands trembled, more money than I'd seen in 2 lifetimes combined. Wealth opened doors. I hired elite tutors while attending some regular classes, claiming charitable sponsors funded my education. John, clinging to pride, refused group sessions. Rumor had it he worked multiple jobs daily, saving to visit Emily during winter break. But squandered talent exacts its price. His academic ranking plummeted from top 10 to triple digits. When break arrived, our 10-day respite included an alumni gathering. At the KTV party, Dan, the valedictorian I'd barely spoken to, and John's close friend, unexpectedly pressed a gift card into my hand. "Thank you, but I'm not that desperate," I politely declined. Memories surfacing of my past life's complicated feelings toward John and Emily. Back then, unexpected cafeteria balance top-ups made me assume the school discreetly assisted needy students. Those extra hundreds let me finally eat properly, though I'd secretly washed dishes for meat-filled meals during menstrual cycles when I couldn't afford pads. Grandma's inheritance remained untouched, easier to maintain austerity than risk gradual depletion. College tuition fears kept me frugal. What if they refused to pay? The mysterious cafeteria funds became my lifeline until, one day, I returned to the classroom earlier than usual and saw John stealing my meal card from my desk. I was furious, thinking to myself, how could he do this when I'm already struggling financially? I planned to follow him secretly to catch him red-handed, but instead witnessed him loading $500 onto that card. The emotions I felt in that moment were indescribable. I stood frozen, realizing that apart from my grandmother, I'd never imagined anyone would show me such kindness. Unbidden feelings began taking root. When I later discovered his involvement with Emily, there was a pang of sadness. Yet because of that meal card incident, I kept making excuses for him. I became their messenger pigeon. When he asked me to look after Emily, I complied. I cooked congee when she was sick, did her laundry, helped with homework. Even my mother praised my efforts, though it felt like rock bottom. There were moments I wished he'd never transferred that money, just to escape the suffocating sense of obligation. After their breakup, I became the one hauling his drunk self home from bars after my part-time shifts, offering pep talks he never seemed to hear. When I got my second chance at life, I tried settling this debt with $10. 000. He looked stunned when I mentioned the meal card. He never took the money. Not until financial struggles hit him and Emily later. "That's a loan," he said through gritted teeth. "I'll pay you back." But we both knew there'd be no later. Our paths were diverging for good. Lily knew about the meal card but suspected the money wasn't his. When Dan tried handing me a card later, Lily shouted dramatically, "Back off. Our Ivy doesn't need handouts." Remember how she repaid John tenfold for that meal card stunt? One of Dan's friends blurted, "Wait. That was Dan's money. He just asked John to load the card." John walked back from the restroom just then, face flushing crimson. "I never claimed it was mine," he stammered. "I told you it was a loan." "Then why not clarify it wasn't yours?" Lily countered. Under the group's scrutiny, John fled after muttering, "I'll settle this tomorrow." Ivy. I kept peeling my orange, sharing halves with Lily. Suddenly a tissue appeared in my vision. I looked up to meet Dan's starlit eyes. "Thanks," he said, taking an orange segment. "Traitor," Lily stage whispered, though her eyes sparkled. My flustered denials only made Dan laugh, the first genuine laughter I'd ever heard from him. Later, as he walked me to my hotel, I'd stopped staying at my childhood home, preferring Grandma's old country house during breaks. Dan admitted quietly, "I wish I'd known how to help during your college entrance exams." Money was the only thing I could think of then. Turned out he'd been sending John over $1,000 monthly for me all along. The reason John came to ask me in person was because Dan told him. I don't need it anymore. Without explanation. "Why? Dan. I remember your financial situation isn't great either. Ivy. You're smart enough. Don't you know why?" The night breeze lifted my skirt as I stared at my shoes, avoiding his gaze. Suddenly, a denim jacket settled around my shoulders. "Ivy. Keep pushing. I'll be waiting for you at Harvard." Wait. Seriously? Was this guy cracking a deadpan joke? In my previous life, I'd nearly killed myself studying just to get into a top state university, and I'd been damn proud of that achievement. Now starting over? I'd be lucky to make it into any decent college. Harvard? Why not have Harvard and MIT fight over me while we're at it? My face scrunched up in disbelief. His hand moved toward my cheek, then abruptly withdrew. Under the street lamp, I saw his ears turn crimson. I remembered Dan wasn't well off either. I'd seen him tutoring for cash before. It made me self-conscious about asking him for help with homework problems. Since we sat back to front in class, it was unavoidable. Instead of paying him directly, which felt awkward, I'd bring him bags of peaches when our old orchard ripened each year. He always accepted them with that cool demeanor, making me hesitant to bother him further. Whatever. No time for this. I needed to focus on relearning everything for SATs. After staying at the hotel overnight, I came downstairs to find breakfast waiting. Dan's doing, though he'd already left for campus. The guy was swamped with work even as a freshman. Typical overachiever. The spread made my mouth water: chili oil wontons, black sesame soy milk, soup dumplings. My resolve wavered. "Love's overrated," I muttered, shoving a dumpling in my mouth. "Health and money matter more. Especially now that I'm practically loaded." By afternoon, a delivery truck dropped off 2 crates at our old house. Inside were meticulously organized textbooks and notebooks, each subject color-coded. Dan's notes looked typeset. He could have sold these as Ivy League prep guides. Mid-study session, my phone buzzed. John wanted to meet about repaying the money. Not worth the drama. I texted him my bank details. Turns out, fate agreed when semester started. John never showed. The money? He'd tried using it to fly to Emily. When Emily didn't see him, she accused him of cheating and slit her wrists in the bathtub. ICU admission. The whole 9 yards. John pulled a 3-day hunger strike until his parents caved and flew him to her. Hilarious. More entertaining than daytime soaps. Emily's stunt did affect me indirectly. My mother called that night. "Did you hear about Emily's suicide attempt?" "Yep. And you did nothing?" "Bought fireworks to celebrate." "Ivy. Have you no humanity?" "Dunno. That's your DNA, isn't it?" Her angry breathing filled the line. I smirked. "Relax. Mom. Those fireworks were for your benefit too." "For me?" "Listen." I answered the phone while setting off a firework by the riverside near our neighborhood. The loud boom traveled through the receiver. "Emily's in the ICU. And here you are slacking off? Shouldn't you be taking care of her? How can you live with yourself? If you won't go, at least hurry up and have another kid. I'm already too rebellious to control. Don't you need a backup plan? And you're still slacking at work? How dare you rest right now? Does Emily even have enough money?" "Mom, I'm so disappointed. The only reason I bought these fireworks was to cheer you up." "Did you really think?" The call disconnected. Unbelievable. I hadn't even finished pouring my heart out. A month into the semester, John finally showed up at school. But rumors about him and Emily had spread like wildfire. At lunch, a boy tried talking to him, only for John's mom to swoop in and snap. "Stay away from him. If you end up like that, I'll drag you to the grave myself." The boy quickly ushered his furious mother toward the cafeteria. Emily must have been desperate for money overseas. John skipped classes more frequently to work odd jobs for her. His parents reluctantly chipped in a few times. But as middle-class folks, they couldn't sustain it. Eventually, they stopped interfering. College entrance exams rolled around again. I felt zero anxiety. The results wouldn't dictate my future anyway. Shockingly, Mom bought me a dress and brought homemade food. I didn't touch it. She praised me for being so mature and capable, claiming she'd always cared but was helpless. I nodded along. "Don't worry. You'll get used to it. Use me as your trial run. Once you pop out more servant kids, you'll grow numb." Supermom here births offspring that raise themselves. Grown-up slaves ready to work. Emily's golden era is coming. She choked back her fury, eyeing the crowd of examinees. "Ivy, you'll understand when you're older. We'll talk after the exams." Oh ho! What fresh insanity had she bottled up this time? The 3-day testing marathon ended. I'd developed full-blown PTSD and even hired a female bodyguard. No way I'd risk repeating high school. Exiting the exam hall, the tall, gorgeous guard handed me a gift bag containing a Dior dress and gold bracelet. Today was Lily's mom's birthday. Throughout senior year, she'd packed lunches for both Lily and me, refusing payment. To repay her, I'd convinced Lily to invest in stocks, using elaborate lies about prophetic dreams. Since I'm a time traveler wouldn't fly. Mom spotted the bag and lunged. "Ivy, you've finally matured. All's forgiven, not for you." "I'm no Emily, how could I ever please you? This is for Lily's mom. You buy gifts for strangers but not your own mother? What did you do for my birthday last year?" Last year? Pre-reincarnation me was broke. Not that she'd ever appreciated past efforts. In elementary school, I'd saved allowance to buy her flowers. She slapped me bloody, accusing me of theft. No apology came even after the truth surfaced. At 15, I used part-time earnings for her birthday cake. She smashed it, screaming about wasted money, right as Emily's failed exams demanded pricey school bribes. After she stormed off, I'd scooped the least dirty frosting with a spoon. My first taste of birthday cake. Grandma didn't understand these things, and I couldn't bring myself to ask her. She'd always buy me those cheap pound cakes sold in bulk. I felt a pang of regret. I should have bought one for her instead. It occurred to me she'd probably never tasted a real birthday cake. But Grandma never got to try mine. She passed away before her next birthday. Staring at my mother's contorted face, I calmly said, "You've got Emily. Why bother buying cakes for my friend's mom? You wouldn't understand, us unloved kids are so starved for affection we'd call strangers mom and dad on the street." The tension between us spiked again. Her hand twitched upward. I ducked behind my bodyguard. "See? This is why I'm so desperate for motherly love. My friend's mom never hits me, never yells, even cooks me meals every day. Can you believe I finally found a real mom?" "Who's that?" She spat. "My hired protection." "Where'd you get money for?" "My new parents gave it to me." I smirked, leaning into the absurdity. "Ivy." Her voice cracked. "How could you guard against your own mother?" "Oh, I'll guard harder. If I could prove you're not my real mom, I'd sue you for assault tomorrow." She trembled, fists clenched. "Before forcing a saccharine tone, I'll pay your college tuition. Everything. Just. Emily has kidney failure. Come get tested, please? This is the only thing I'll ever ask." Holy crap. Emily's playing the organ failure card already? Oh no. I gasped theatrically. If Emily dies, who'll wipe your butt when you're old? Ivy. Stop this childish, nope. Then forget you ever had a mother. Gladly. I wasted my life raising you. Yep. Curse you. You'll die wretched. I hit record on my phone. Keep going. Last year's viral video only showed your face. This time? Emily's medical charts. Maybe I'll post to Chinese forums in America too. Wonder if her suicide attempts will finally stick this time? She lunged for my phone but the bodyguard blocked her. I stared her down. Emily's best chance is you staying far away from me. Shouldn't you be working triple shifts for her dialysis money? Or praying for a miracle baby to replace your runaway slave? She raised the bubble tea she'd bought me like a weapon. I kept filming. The drink trembled mid-air before she stormed off. When college acceptance letters dropped, Dan called immediately. How'd you do, Ivy? Didn't get into Harvard. Just a school in MIT? That's near me. His uncharacteristic excitement threw me. Dan usually had the emotional range of a toaster. I cut him off, not MIT. Just a Boston college. Perfect. We'll see each other often. I nearly facepalmed. The real reason? To buy property before the housing boom. But explaining stock market timing to this human calculator? Not worth the effort. Let's just call it a beautiful misunderstanding. Though I didn't get into Harvard. Lily made it. Hee hee. Still a huge win, now we've got connections at both MIT and Harvard. I'll be networking with future CEOs and Nobel laureates in no time. This year alone, my total earnings hit $2 million. Oddly, Lily seemed troubled. Confused about why my grades plummeted after those initial stellar exams during our gap year. She even joked I must have cracked my skull during that staircase tumble. I grinned at my college acceptance letter, landing a spot at a top-tier state university. Not bad for someone who nearly flunked calculus. But Lily gripped my shoulders solemnly. Ivy, you're capable of more. Some improve their scores retaking exams twice. Why not try again? We could attend Harvard together. I nearly choked. You offering me candy-coated misery? I thanked her earnestly before declining. Another year? Next time I might not even clear community college admissions. My mediocre grades probably only squeaked through thanks to Grandma's ghostly intervention anyway. Speaking of Grandma, my throat tightened. I quietly commissioned a marble mausoleum and burned enough joss paper to stock a stationery store, 20 pounds worth. Earlier, I'd hidden my wealth. But now with bodyguards posing as professors, I leaned into the academic scholarship cover story. Villagers showered me with produce, probing about my sudden fortune. Merit-based grants. I shrugged, gesturing to my faculty escorts. Driving past muddy backroads. I bit my tongue. Reinventing my origin story could wait until sophomore year. No need to flash cash prematurely. John and Emily? Their drama kept trending. John barely scraped into a second-tier university but ditched it to donate a kidney for Emily's treatment in America. Cue the violins. I assumed they'd vanish stateside forever, until junior year. When they limped back. John's gait had turned uneven after years washing dishes in New York diners. Emily's taste for luxury clashed with their dwindling funds. His remaining kidney failed within a year. Prescriptions piling up as Emily's mother ghosted them. Returning broke. John begged his parents, only to find his mom cradling a newborn brother. You chose your path. She cold-shouldered him. Emily tried squatting at my old family home. But my parents had sold it for her surgery ages ago. Now John juggles gig jobs to fund her spiraling mental health, self-harm episodes. Paranoid accusations that he resented her. My aging parents could barely support themselves. Their meager subsidies stretching thinner each month. No matter how John tried to explain. She refused to believe him. Exhausted from daily grueling manual labor. John grew increasingly impatient with her. Their breaking point came when he finally landed a bartending side job only to witness Emily kissing another man at the bar. He threw a punch at the man, only to get pinned down by his entourage. During the scuffle, someone smashed a stool across his left leg, shattering it instantly. The man paid minimal compensation afterward. Emily packed her things from their dingy apartment, telling him bitterly, John, I'm drowning us both. This is the only way out. I'll make it up to you in the next life. She left without hesitation, abandoning him to the moldy squalor. Staring at his haggard reflection in the bathroom mirror, he barely recognized himself. That night, drowning in liquor. He lured Emily out by claiming to have an unforgettable gift. Overconfident in his lingering affection, Emily arrived expectantly, only to have sulfuric acid thrown in her face. John fled on the motorcycle bought with the man's compensation money, sleeping rough under a remote overpass. In his drunken stupor, he dreamed of cutting ties with Emily long ago. Instead, he saw himself with Ivy, not the sharp-tongued woman she'd become, but the gentle soul who'd secretly refilled his meal card during their school days. Even in the dream, he couldn't confess the truth behind those small kindnesses. When Dan showed up before the wedding with luxury couples' watches as a gift, John seethed silently. He knew those weren't meant for him. Dan still carried a torch for Ivy. But did Ivy truly love him? Or was she just grateful for past favors? He nitpicked every wedding detail, demanding to know why she chose him. Any mention of their school days triggered his rage. Emily's reappearance became his final excuse to explode, projecting his own deceit onto others to justify their mutual toxicity. "I never meant to kill her," he'd whisper later, clinging to the lie that her death was accidental. The shattered watch faces in his pocket ticked in mocking unison, each broken gear echoing his irreversible choices. When I woke from the dream, everything became clear. The visions must have been real. Ivy Smith had been reborn. But why? Why would she go to such lengths to harm me? Why this relentless vendetta? I needed to confront her for answers. After Emily's disfigurement, John vanished without a trace. Dan grew intensely protective, insisting on driving me to campus every morning and escorting me home each night. I struggled to define our relationship, haunted by memories of my pitiful devotion to John and my past life. Late-night doubts plagued me. Could I ever truly love again? Or was this lingering attachment merely misplaced gratitude? Not wanting to lead Dan on, I decided to end things cleanly. During a drizzly autumn afternoon in Beijing, the city's skeletal trees rattling in the wind, I slid an envelope across the cafe table. Inside, a bank card and formal thank you note. He'd lost weight recently. The sharp angles of his face accentuated when he clenched his jaw. For one suspended moment, time stopped as he stared at the envelope. Then he pushed it back with cold precision. "You're overcomplicating things, Ivy. I never wanted repayment." His chair screeched against the floor as he left. I sat frozen, watching his trench coat disappear into the gray drizzle. My chest tightened with unfamiliar ache, though I couldn't pinpoint its source. My life finally felt stable. Why risk upheaval? Time blurred the edges of memory. We'd nearly forgotten John's existence until Christmas Eve. Beijing lay buried underneath deep snow as I rummaged through the basement parking garage. A gloved hand yanked me into shadows, chemical-soaked cloth crushing against my face. I held my breath, limbs turning to lead while feigning unconsciousness. Through slitted eyes, I glimpsed John's profile as he shoved me into a van. My bound hands groped blindly for the phone in my pocket, mashing volume buttons until the screen dimmed. When his eyes flicked to the road, I hit emergency dial. "John, where are you taking me?" I rasped, loud enough for the dispatcher to hear. His laughter slithered through the darkness. "There's my girl." This would have been boring otherwise. Silence stretched as I bit my tongue raw, metallic blood keeping me alert. The van stopped at a derelict textile mill on Yanjiao's outskirts. "This is the abandoned Yun family factory," I shouted for the phone's benefit, twisting to shield its faint glow. "What's your endgame?" "Finish what we started, Ivy." His breath fogged the freezing air. "Our wedding vows, you promised forever. Are you insane? You blew up your life to chase after Emily, because of your social media post." He slammed the steering wheel. "That damn poem about star-crossed lovers. I have every right to post Shakespeare quotes." My laugh bordered on hysterical. "Why not blame the Big Bang for your existence while you're at it?" His finger traced my jawline, making my skin crawl. "You're more fascinating this time around." The van door creaked open. "Let's complete our ceremony properly," he spoke while gripping my throat, pressing the chloroform-soaked cloth over my face again. When I regained consciousness, John was biting my neck, The sharp pain jolted me awake. He'd already forced me into a white wedding dress. Dragging me up the stairs. I fought violently as memories of my previous death flooded back. Consuming terror gripped me. For a moment, I considered taking us both over the edge. With bound hands, I rammed into him when his grip loosened. Luck favored him, instead of tumbling down. He caught me. A sickening crack came from his ankle. Crouching, he clutched his foot with pained curses. I tried fleeing but got yanked back. His full-force slap left my ears ringing. Vision blurring. My sweet Ivy. Why must you misbehave? John feigned tenderness. Thumb wiping blood from my lips. Did that hurt? You're breaking my heart. I sank teeth into his hand with primal fury. Metallic blood filled my mouth as he struggled. Even when he elbowed my skull. I held on until his kick to my stomach sent me crumpling against the wall. Spitting out a chunk of flesh. I watched him grimace in agony. After recovering, he seized my hair, forcing eye contact. More slaps followed until dizziness overwhelmed me. Dragged to the rooftop's edge. His hands closed around my throat. Let's reset. Ivy. No more hurting each other. Just us. Okay? As he inched us toward the ledge. Dan's voice cut through. John. Take me instead. Name your terms. He kept anxious eyes on my precarious position. Look who's here. John laughed bitterly. My greatest regret? Befriending you. Dan. Why'd you have to flaunt that damn watch? If you hadn't provoked me, his deranged rant continued. Blaming everyone but himself, mirroring Emily's toxic patterns. Dan played along. Hate me then. Punish me. Let her go. This doesn't concern you. I screamed. How touching. John threw a dagger at Dan's feet. Stab yourself twice. Maybe I'll reconsider. Without hesitation, Dan plunged the blade into his abdomen. My tears fell freely as blood bloomed across his cashmere sweater. Again. John demanded excitedly. The second strike came swift and brutal. He was barely standing. Half collapsed on the ground. John watched his weakened state and lunged forward, gripping his throat. Weren't you so damn tough? Where's that arrogance now? Look at you, pathetic stray dog whimpering at my feet. My life's ruined beyond repair. Why should any of you have it better? His rant cut short as Ivy, plunged the dagger into his lower back. The shock in his eyes mirrored my own. I'd dislocated my thumb breaking free from the ropes. Police sirens wailed in the distance. I scrambled toward Dan. My throbbing hand forgotten. Help. Somebody help. Blood gushed through my fingers like floodwaters, staining crimson patterns across his paling skin. His eyelids fluttered. Dan. Stay with me. Look at me. I begged. Tears mixing with his blood. Please. I can't lose you too. The ER kept him for 6 endless hours, the longest wait since Grandma's passing. Lily visited daily. Her mascara streaking with relieved tears. My bruises would fade, though my thumb still protested when gripping the hospital tray. On day 3, I brought bone broth. Dan watched me fumble with the spoon. Rich girl like Ivy shouldn't bother with nursing. He rasped, that old edge returning despite 4 lines. I blew steam off the spoon. Wouldn't trust anyone else. Don't confuse gratitude with feelings. Your future boyfriend might mind. True enough. His head snapped toward the window. I tweaked his burning earlobe. Asked myself that too. Turns out it's not gratitude. My lips brushed his jawline. Then found his mouth. Thank you. I whispered against his lips. For fighting. For choosing me. Again and again. John got 20 years. Only Emily attended his sentencing in her veiled black hat. As authorities handled my parents' conservatorship. Mom's voicemails piled up, frantic apologies from someone who'd finally mapped my college town. But when she came searching, Dan and I were already driving west, leaving ghosts in the rearview. When Dan went abroad for further studies, I took the opportunity to manage overseas business operations while seeking a fresh environment to unwind. She exhausted every connection, even reaching out to Lily. According to Lily, the woman acted strangely. obsessively verifying whether I was still alive. She pleaded to see me just once, a single glance would suffice. I declined. Only sending her a message through an intermediary. I already repaid the life debt owed to Mother once. We need never meet again in this lifetime. Later developments reached me in fragments. I only learned she expelled Emily from the household. She wrote numerous letters addressed to me, but without my current address. By then, it no longer mattered. I'd resolved never to look back. Perhaps due to emotional turbulence, I experienced an extraordinarily vivid dream one night. I witnessed Dan's unraveling after my previous death, how he kidnapped John. How the once gentle scholar wielded torture tools to inflict agony on those responsible. Police eventually intervened. John received prison time for manslaughter while Dan served sentences for aggravated assault. He attempted suicide multiple times in confinement until his academic mentor proposed time travel research, igniting his will to survive. In the dreamscape, I lingered beside him for decades. 20 fruitless years passed as Dan pursued temporal mechanics before turning to theology in his twilight years, imploring deities for second chances. During fieldwork, he encountered an elderly Taoist priest who advised, accumulate merit in her name to secure her favorable rebirth. Abandoning time machines, Dan channeled efforts into philanthropic patents, donating all proceeds under my name. At death's threshold, he murmured, Ivy, I've exhausted every possibility. Regret truly has no cure. Waking beside my sleeping husband, the dream's resonance lingered. Such relentless devotion, what could I possibly have done to warrant it? Dan would never confess he'd loved Ivy longer than she realized. It began after his father's death during impoverished childhood years. Passing her grandmother's peach-laden yard en route to his maternal grandmother's village home. He hurried to avoid pitying stares until her voice stopped him. Hey! You're Granny Flora's grandson. Right? I'm Ivy. Could you pick me 2 peaches? I'll share some with you. He climbed eagerly, harvesting armfuls. She returned with grocery bags, filling them to bursting. Only later did he notice the brimming peach basket in her kitchen. She'd orchestrated the exchange to preserve his dignity. Those peaches became his most cherished memory. When his grandmother fell critically ill years later, delayed news left them arriving to find fresh meals still warm, prepared daily by Ivy during winter visits. She dismissed these kindnesses casually, her smile radiating sunlight through their grief. Much later, he'd learned her own life held shadows he'd never imagined. During high school, my mom's job situation improved significantly. I started tutoring part-time, partly to contribute to the household, but mostly because I'd noticed something unsettling throughout the entire semester. I'd never once seen Emily order meat dishes in the cafeteria. I desperately wanted to ask why, yet feared overstepping. This became my clumsy way of intervening. I'd convinced myself my intentions were pure. But when John casually mentioned our mutual attraction during study hall, I nearly shattered my pencil. Since when did feelings become transactional? Was I supposed to weaponize my tutoring help? Yet Emily kept drawing lines. Every geometry problem solved earned me baskets of peaches from her family orchard. Those damn peaches, for 2 straight years. Their tartness lingered on my tongue. Acidic reminder of unspoken things between us.